23 guys hit the portal. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this is modern college football. That's I don't think any team's going to be immune to that. Certainly, again, as we've said a lot here over the last several months, we've been preparing for that. I mean, there's got to get our roster to 105. There's some processing that takes place. You don't like it. I've said I don't like it, but it's part of where we're at right now. So everybody has to figure out what's best for them, and we as a program, as we continue to try to grow and start back over with Team 131, that's all part of the process. So that's right on schedule.
How's the team looked without that many players out there?
It's still good. I don't know how many's out there right now, but there's still over 100 guys out there. They're working hard, showing up, excited to go to work and get a chance to play in a bowl game and go win.
Brent, the receiver room especially took a pretty big hit. Been quite a few guys there. Just what's your evaluation of that room going forward?
Yeah, well, going forward, getting ready for Navy, most of the guys that helped us all year are going to be the same guys that are going to be out there for the bowl game. So we had a lot of receivers. We were actually over at our number most of the year, and thankfully, so we were able to play with guys this year. And I just see a great opportunity for a great foundation of young players there to continue to grow and develop. Recruited them for a reason. All well thought of guys like a Jacob Jordan made the most of his opportunity. I think he caught 22 catches this year, and so it just creates an opportunity for the next guy, and certainly that'll be an area that is a great focus for us. We've got a lot of guys that would love the opportunity to play here at the University of Oklahoma. So navigating that is what we've been doing for the last several weeks, anticipating. I'll be honest, most of the guys that were banged up and didn't play this year, we felt like they wouldn't be here a year ago. So we've been preparing for this for a while, just thinking that they come and they play well, they'll be moving on. So in some ways you've positioned yourself, for that. But it'll be a great opportunity for some guys across the country to come here and play.
Could Deion Burks play in the bowl game? And have you had any discussions about him maybe coming back next season?
Yeah, we're he's got a lot to weigh and things like that, but we've had several conversations, and that's still certainly on the table.
Brent, can you talk a little bit about the quarterback situation? I know Michael's probably started going in, but talk about overall quarterback situation, and what are you looking for still portal-wise at that position?
Yeah, well, I won't get into, again, we can't go into next year with two quarterbacks. I think that goes without saying. And so, Mike is our quarterback. Casey Thompson is kind of knocking off the rust. He actually practiced good the first two practices, having some fun out there. But Mike's looked good, and we love where he's at and the progress that he has made. And of course we have Jet New coming in as a freshman, and we got some work to do to get that room where it needs to be so we can compete in the SEC. And so we've been diligently doing that.
Right, going back to the receivers, in late October you said that several of those guys indicated that they wanted to come back for an additional year. I guess what changed over the last 6 weeks?
The wind. Who knows, what all goes into a lot of those things. And, hey, there's some guys, maybe, some of that conversation is you need a fresh start too. And, again, at the end of the day, whoever's here, man, my job is to make sure that who's here, man, they have an appreciation, a thankfulness, a respect for their opportunity. I want guys that show up every day, they're driven, they're ambitious, they're going to fight for their opportunity, they're going to fight for their teammates. The group of guys that chose not to be here, hey, man, they did a great job while they were here, and we certainly wish them well. We're thankful for the time that they were here, but change is a part of where we're at in college football right now. Do you want to create an environment that has consistency and stability and continuity? Absolutely. I think that bodes well for any successful, business, football locker room. But, there's just, this is this is the most unstable time in college football history. And I know we're focused on, and we have a lens for everything Oklahoma. And this is the most passionate fan base in all of college football, and hungry to produce a winner, and disappointed in our lack of ability to do so this year for all the reasons that we know. And But if you look just down the road, wherever down the road is, you'll see nobody is unaffected by what's going on in college football. So our job is to position ourselves. I can have a great appreciation for our leadership and Joe Harris and Joe Castiglione, and having a vision for what's next, so that we can position ourselves and manage this next phase of where college football is going, and put ourselves in a position where we can compete, for the SEC championship. And they're doing everything they can to do that.
And has Jaden Gibson indicated whether he plans to come back next year?
Yeah, he has, and I expect he'll be here.
Brent, where in the college football environment do you think Oklahoma has a position of strength in this portal season? Where is Oklahoma after coming 6-6 with changes and everything? What's your message to players you're looking at that may be looking at Oklahoma?
Well, again, want them to be healthy, stay healthy. That'll always help. Obviously, there's a wonderful opportunity. And again, if we get a little better on offense, take care of the football, make layups that are there as an offense, become a more explosive offense. We've established our defense. We established ourselves in the kicking game as being as good as anybody in the SEC, and which will put you in a great position nationally as well. We get that back to what it was a year ago on offense, and the year before that as a top 5, top 10 offense in the country. If we get good, consistent quarterback play, and again, we're respectful of that football, win the margin. Those are, you recruit players to that, and again, you got to hope that you have a healthy football team, that you see people that lose a guy here and there, and all hell breaks loose. And those are handling the injuries is not an easy thing. But that being said, I just think it's a great opportunity. I think it goes without saying, whether you're an offensive lineman, you're a tight end, you're a receiver, you're a quarterback, to be able to align on the other side of the ball with what you're going to see every day, in defense, and how we've recruited and developed there. And again, on the platform that Oklahoma has, this has been as good of a place offensively over decade after decade after decade. And so I look at this year as an aberration. And I got a lot of guys that we've been talking to that look at it that way as well.
Brent, is there something special about going up against a triple option team, given its roots here in Norman?
Yeah, I mean, it's for a defensive coach, it's a challenge, and you actually for the in particularly the front guys, the defensive line, you have to go back and reteach everything, and it's exactly opposite of what you've been preaching since the moment they put on a helmet as a defensive player. If you get up the field against these guys, they're gonna you're gonna watch the game, you're gonna watch them score, and this is a team that you have to be able to play laterally. You have to stay on your feet. You got to get knocked back, but there's the fine line. And so reteaching, some fundamentals is a big part of this game. Staying on your feet is how you win. And being certainly physical and in all the right spots. But what a great challenge it's going to. And the history of this program and its roots is it's a real special thing. And as I told these guys, man, the Navy, they can't wait to play a program like Oklahoma. And what you're going to get with these guys, man, they're going to be relentless, and they're going to have the right kind of mindset and toughness. So I'm excited for our guys. We're going to have to take the fight to them and know that, man, we've got to do all the little things right against a team like this that, they pride themselves on playing tough and playing relentless and playing with great discipline and fundamentals.
Brent, the cut block is the key thing for Navy. Triple option teams. How do you work on that on your team?
Yeah, I mean, you do it a lot during the year, but you have to spend a lot more time on it. And these the few days that we've practiced so far, and then the next couple of weeks, practicing the fundamentals of the cut block will be really important.
Brian Newberry, is from here. Went to school at Westmore. Have you crossed paths with him at all? And just, if not, what have you thought of kind of his career from afar and just how he's gotten?
Yeah, he's had a fantastic career, and he's a winner. That's probably something that a lot of people will say when they talk about Brian and the success he had in high school in Moore, and certainly what he's been able to do from a college profession. The success that he's had is it's really good, and it's one you got great respect for, the program that he's built, the pride and the toughness that his team plays with, so that's kind of cool. I mean, it's a familiar face for a lot of people around here, and I know that'll be something that he's looking forward to as a guy that first time he ever saw a college game was an Oklahoma football game. So it'll mean a lot to him and his staff as well.
We hadn't had a chance to talk to you about Fasuzi and his signing. Can you talk about the days leading up to his signing and just his staying committed to Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think there might have been a lot of anticipation and question marks. Well, who he's going to sign with? We never flinched. We weren't surprised. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. So, but really excited. Mike's one of the many talented players that we signed in this high school class. What I love about Mike, certainly he's a very talented. He's got great stature at 6'6" and 295 pounds, super athletic, but he's a blue collar guy. He's a football junkie. He loves the game. He's a simple guy, loves the Lord, loves football, loves his family, and loves his teammates. That's who I know Mike to be. And because of that, he's been able to have a lot of success, and I expect him to bring those things that I just said, his work ethic, his passion, his humility that he has for what it takes to be successful. Those things, and being a great teammate, those things will travel well when he shows up in January. But he'll put his head down and to let Coach Biedenbow coach him and develop him. That's important. That was a reason that he chose, one of the many reasons that he chose Oklahoma was from a development standpoint and knowing that Coach Biedenbow would be able to get the best out of him. But I'm really excited. That's a position that we do have some youth on the offensive line, but it's also a position of great need. And so anxious to get, January 11th here soon.
How has Ben Arbuckle, I guess, settled into his role, and what's it been like working with him so far?
It was fun. Today he was out there throwing. We were spreading it out, working some of the pass skelly stuff that we were doing, and he was out there, so if there's 5 guys getting out, 5 balls are flying. So he had got his arm warmed up and threw a few post routes and a few unders, and so it was great to see. But he's blended in really well. Again, he's a relationship guy. He's got a lot of humility. He certainly has respect for the people in the building, and so it was a very natural, transition for him up to this point, and so. He spent a lot of time trying to get to know players and the rest of the staff, so it's been great.
Brent, Danny today posted a thank you graphic. Didn't specify his status for the bowl game. Do you expect him to play in the bowl game?
Yeah, I'll say let it's not really for me to say, whether or not he's going to play. But how about him being an All-American? And really cool, first team All-SEC in his first year. I'm really proud and thankful. For all the seniors, but certainly the growth and maturity that has taken place with Danny, and to me having a guy that has a legacy somewhere, I think comes from making the place better than when you got there. And if he's done something, he's done that, and he's left his mark. Certainly he's done that to the whole locker room and to the university, but man, he's done that on defense, where we were when he got here to where we are today. Man, 2 different hemispheres, and it's his dedication, his persistence, his passion, his love, his commitment, his body of work, along with several other seniors, Woody Washington, Ethan Downs, Billy Bowman, that group of guys in particular. Man, they have just been fantastic.
Brent, what's the balance right now between practicing for the bowl game and just trying to get a foundation working ahead for spring and next year?
Yeah, you're working your fundamentals. The balance, you treat it like a normal work week. We do have some shortened practices. I don't want it to be long and drug out and a fist fight every day. Want to be efficient, get the fundamentals that will carry us as a program, the attention to detail, focusing on how we do what we do, I think that's more important than anything. Just showing up with a standard every single day, and how we meet, how we work, how we compete, how we lead, those types of things, and making sure that we continue to nurture that. We don't look the other way. For that, it's just the little things. The little things have the biggest consequences. So just nurturing foundationally our standards, and then again, putting in our game plan as well, getting that work in both the film room and on the practice field. You got to have a balance of both, and you got to have some fun.
Do you have a pretty firm idea of who's going to be available in the bowl game?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is anybody in the portal going to go ahead and play in the bowl game? Like some of the guys you might have had to cut?
I think the guys that some of the walk-ons are still trying to figure out, what's next for them, afforded them the opportunity to choose whether or not they want to still participate and be a part of the bowl game.
Last year, you had a few, I think, high school guys able to just practice.
Yeah.
Do you have any guys?
There's a few. There's be a few, and it's all based on when we can get their final transcript, when their last days of school are. So there's a timing mechanism that won't allow everyone, but we'll have a handful of some guys that can experience that as well.
Brent, you mentioned the quarterback room being, somewhere you need depth. I want to ask you about tight end.
Mm-hmm.
How important is it to build that depth at that position?
Yeah.
And just what's the plan there?
Yeah, it's to build the depth back to where we need it. And tight ends are one of the most undervalued positions on the team. They're critical in special teams, and certainly in what we want to do and who we are in the league, to be an efficient offense, to be a physical offense, and be able to attack people in the middle of the field. I think those are just some of the things that they can bring to the table. But it's been a position that, because of some injury issues over the last 2 years, it's not been what we want it to be. And we lost two. We're going to lose two really good ones again this year. Now that we're one in the portal and one's a senior graduating today. And so, again, it's been a priority. Again, looking for guys that are tough, that are physical, that can play in space. They got to be smart guys. Again, they got to be leaders. Got to be good special teams players. All of those things.
How far is Mitchell coming? Yeah, tight end.
Yeah, he's done well. He's done well. And again, I've spoke about Vaughn a couple of times, I think, with everybody. So I don't want to be redundant that way. But again, just should be a senior in high school last January. And so remember, he's a reclass guy, but he's matured a lot and has had some ups and downs and highs and lows of just what your first year in college is all about. But really proud of his body of work and the improvement that he's made and his mindset here the last few weeks of the season. He's really kind of starting to hit his stride in regards to showing up and being prepared and knowing how to compete and doing all the things off the field that you got to do as well, and knowing what to do once you get on the field. And but again, he's a guy with heavy hands, and he's got really good hands, but in the blocking, he's a heavy-handed guy. And I think if he was standing here right now, he'd tell you, man, he's starting to become really confident in what he's doing, how to play tight end.
He can play in the bowl game, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Brent,
Yep.
I know it's a balancing act and really a math equation to get down to 105, but do you have an idea of how many transfers you'd like to bring in?
Yeah, I'll keep that kind of open. Anything can happen with our current roster and there, but it's going to be somewhere in probably 8 to 12, give or take. So.
Brent, we didn't ask you when we talked to you at signing day, but I wanted to ask you, when you were hiring an offensive coordinator, was the coordinator coming in, was he recommended to keep the entire offensive staff in place?
That's a good question. No, I asked everybody I interviewed, hey, what are your non-negotiables? And if you take this job, what do you need to have at your disposal to be successful? And I led off every conversation. We got a good staff, but nobody here is obligated to keep anybody. And I just kind of leaned back, on, for example, when like Coach Stoops, I remember when he went down to Florida. I think Florida they got whooped by Nebraska in a bowl game. Maybe Nebraska put 60-some or so on Florida, and they took Bob Stoops, and so they were a mess on defense. And Coach Spurrier hires Coach Stoops. He goes down to Florida, and a year or two later, and he got to keep the whole staff. and figure things out, with that staff. And he did, and they won the national championship just a couple of years later. When I left Oklahoma, I asked Coach Sweeney, I said, who can I bring? And he's like, you can bring one guy off the field. So I brought a guy off the field, and I had to go figure it out. And they had just given up 70 to West Virginia in the bowl game, and everybody wanted to get rid of everybody. And but I got there, and I figured out, hey, man, these are really good coaches. We got to, I got to develop a chemistry and a cohesion. I need to understand what they understand and how they coach, and then I got to do a good job as a teacher and a coach of coaches, doing a good job of, all right, this is the way we're going to do it moving forward. And but in that staff, again, we went to 4 national championships and won a whole bunch of games and were the gold standard on defense with that staff. And when Coach Alley came here, he brought one off the field guy, and he was able to take us, and we made steady improvement from year 1 to year 2, and then year 2 to year 3. Man, we took another huge step in a whole bunch of categories, and he had to figure out the staff and keep all these guys that we lost 3 games with, and so again, I just use just a couple of those examples, to lean on, and if I felt there was we needed a change, certainly would do so. But, ultimately I made the decision to hire Coach Arbuckle for the reasons I've already expressed, but for who we wanted to be on offense. I wanted an offense that could attract great quarterback play, where you're pushing the ball down the field. You have an explosive offense that would be attractive to every skilled player in the country. And that's what this program has been known for. And just so happened that it aligned when it comes to our staff. But for me, if he needed to bring a couple guys, he would have been able to do that. And he has some off the field guys that were really important to him, and so we've created opportunity for him to bring them.
Got to wrap up. Last one.
Have you?
Last big picture question for you.
Yeah.
Hiring Randall Stevenson and sort of the role that he's going to fill. What was the conversation like to create that, to sort of reorganize, and then to bring him in?
Yeah, I'm just again thankful for our leadership. President Harris and Joe Castiglione to have the foresight, the vision for what the next phase of college football looks like, college athletics, as you go to a semi type of NFL pro model, and where you can be efficient, where you can handle systematically the instability that's naturally there, and so that we can do a great job, the year-round demand, from the anticipation to the contracts to the open-ended free agency, to the development internally, all the different spaces that are affected. Still having a recruiting mechanism, you're still dealing with 16, 17, 18-year-olds in this new space. I'm really thankful that they've given us the stability internally to be very forward-thinking in their leadership.
What have you learned about Randall so far?
Yeah,
in terms
that
of what he'll bring to you?
he makes decisions quickly and efficiently. He's tough and demanding, and he loves his university. But he provides. He's willing to listen, and those are some of the big things. He's not afraid to make hard decisions, and he's got great vision. And I think he's playing the end game. With a lot of his forward thinking. What does the end game look like? Certainly there are things that you have to do in the immediacy that demand attention, and but he's also found some people that internally can help facilitate the transition where we're at in college football.